Schlitz Light Beer has a third fewer calories than our other fine beer, and all the taste beer drinkers expect from Schlitz.
Is that what the gentleman always orders?
That's his beer, the only light beer with gusto.
We'll have 2 Schlitz Lights.
Beer drinkers know it took Schlitz to bring the taste to light.
This drop is too little to cover the head of a match. Yet this is enough adhesive, super strong, super fast to lift 2.5 tons. It's Duro Super Glue. A drop will do to mend jewelry, ceramics, rubber, and glass in only 10 seconds. It truly is super strong and super fast. Super Glue. A drop will do. Super Glue. A product of Loctite Technology.
Introducing the Ford in your future, the new Ford Fairmont. A new car designed for today and the years ahead. At 33 miles per gallon highway, 23 city, Fairmont has the highest mileage ratings in its class. Yet it has 90% of the head, leg, and shoulder room of most large cars. And base sticker prices for the Fairmont line start at just $35.89. Fairmont, roomy but with mileage like a small car, and the lowest sticker price in its class. Test drive Fairmont, the newest, better idea from Ford.
The George Burns One-Man Show with a little help from Ann Margaret, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Bob Hope and the Captain and Tennille.
At my age, they don't think I can last an hour. I'll last. I might even lap over into the next program. This isn't really a nurse. I promised to put her on television.
Wednesday at 10, 9 Central and Mountain.
Tonight, CBS Sports presents Celebrity Challenge of the Sexes with Farrah Fawcett Majors and many more television and movie stars competing in exciting head-to-head competition.
I'm ready. Ready? Okay, don't forget, just let them have it.
Here we go, $20 on the nose. Come on, baby.
That's Celebrity Challenge of the Sexes tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern.
It was late in the fourth quarter in Chicago's Soldier Field. For the afternoon, Walter Payton had gained 217 yards on 37 carries. Bob Avellini bent down in the huddle and called 34's number again. Got a block, jumped over a would-be tackler, broke loose down the right sideline, and before he was stopped, he had gained 58 yards, and suddenly O.J. Simpson's record was in jeopardy. And on this play, Walter Payton made it 275 yards in a single game, a new record. Now, for a single season, the record, of course, is held by the Juice, and O.J.'s one-year mark, 2003, is in jeopardy. After 10 games, Walter Payton leads Simpson. If you compare Simpson's record-breaking year with this season by Payton, who still has 4 games to go, including Thursday's game on CBS Chicago and Detroit. Irv Cross, how about Cleveland and the New York Giants?
We didn't have anybody running like that, but it was a pretty exciting game, though, Brent. The Cleveland Browns came into the Meadowlands and defeated the Giants by a score of 21-7, and they did it in typical Cleveland fashion. Good overall, solid defensive play, but right here in this sequence of play, Coleman hunts down to Bobby Hammond. Bobby Hammond, by the way, had a tremendous day, Brent and Phyllis. Here he makes a nifty return down to the 45-yard line, and Goldstein goes right back to Hammond on a screen play. This is the best play of the day by far, but the Giants won't get a touchdown out of this because an offensive holding penalty was called on right guard John Hicks, number 74. Bobby Hammond goes in thinking he does have a score, but the play was nullified because of the holding penalty, but we thought you ought to see it anyway. But Dr. David Mays here at quarterback, substituting for Brian Sipe, goes to the air and hits Paul Warfield on the baseline. That was it, and that's all it took. Cleveland 21, the Giants 7.
Beautiful catch by Warfield, too, Irv. 4 games in progress. Let's update those scores right now. Los Angeles leading San Francisco by 7 points at the half. The game you're watching is at Dandy, 14-13. Cowboys miss an extra point. Houston has now come back to score the last 10 points. They're ahead of Seattle 10-3. Oakland, San Diego, the story there is that Ken Stabler's been injured. Mike Ray is in, and the Raiders cling to a 1-point lead. And Irv and Phyllis, we're going to be right back after the CBS News special report.
This is a CBS News special report. Sadat in Israel. Sponsored on a continuing basis by the makers of Herbal Tegrin Shampoo.
This is Bob Schieffer, CBS News. For Anwar Sadat, this extraordinary day began at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Old Jerusalem, one of the Islamic faith's most sacred sites. Sadat was the first Arab leader to worship here since Israel took over the area after the 1967 war. He appeared lost in his thoughts as he prayed for 45 minutes, clutching his prayer beads. He spoke only in unison with the other worshipers. Outside, Israeli security forces tightened their guard as Sadat moved through the old city and past the Mosque of the Golden Dome. There were crowds wherever Sadat went, but the police became uneasy when a large crowd began to gather just outside the walled city, chanting slogans both for and against the Sadat visit. As the crowds grew more vocal, Israeli soldiers barred the gates to the old city and reinforced the guard, but there were no serious incidents. He concluded his tour of the old city with a visit to one of Christendom's most sacred places, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, revered as the place where Christ was buried. There was almost a festive air as the walking tour of the old city continued. Throughout the stroll, Sadat seemed composed and in good spirits in spite of the crowds that pressed in around him, and those who were permitted near him seemed genuinely happy that he had come there. A bit later, the mood was more somber as Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin took Sadat to Yad Vashem, the memorial to European Jews who were murdered by the Nazis during World War II. Begin led the Egyptian president down the steps and through the black marble corridors of the shrine, which is known in Israel as the Memorial to the Holocaust. Along the way, Israeli officials produced yarmulkes, which are traditionally worn in sacred Jewish places. Sadat at first appeared to accept the skull cap, then politely declined. The purpose of the tour seemed to be to dramatize for Sadat just how difficult the Israeli struggle to establish a homeland has been. Sadat left a message in the guest book saying, "May God guide our steps toward peace. Let us end all suffering for mankind." But perhaps the day's most dramatic moment was at the Knesset building, the home of the Israeli parliament, where an Egyptian flag was raised to fly beside the Star of David. It was here at the Knesset that Sadat and Begin would make their historic addresses before the parliament in a packed gallery that included a visiting American congressional delegation. Sadat in his speech was cordial but firm. Begin was just as firm but held out hope for an eventual agreement.
In the past, we had reasons for this, yes? We refused to meet with you anywhere. Yes, we used to describe you as the so-called Israel. But I tell you today, and I declare to the world at large, that we accept to live with you within a just and lasting peace. We do not want to surround you or that you surround us with rockets aimed at destruction or the missiles of prejudice and hatred. I declared on numerous occasions that Israel has become a reality.
I suggest that everything will be negotiable. The one that says in the relations between Israel and the Arab states that there are things that should be taken out of negotiation takes upon himself a great responsibility. Everything is open for negotiations.
The members of the Knesset reacted to the Sadat speech with courtesy and what seemed to be curiosity. Back in the United States, President Carter paused on his way home from church where he had prayed for the success of the Sadat visit.
President Sadat would be courageous enough to go to Israel will transform, I think, the Middle Eastern peace prospects, regardless of the outcome of this particular visit. It's a breakdown in 30 years, perhaps even centuries of hatred. And I was particularly touched yesterday when President Sadat walked down the red welcoming coffin and shook hands with Mr. Dayan, and he and Mrs. Meir exchanged a friendship, and he bent and kissed her on the cheek. I thought that was a great occasion. I think it will be a major step forward.
Sadat and Begin met again tonight at a working dinner. More details on that this evening on the CBS News broadcast 60 Minutes. This is Bob Schieffer in New York. Now we rejoin the NFL on CBS.
Okay, thank you, Bob. And Phyllis, the report out on the West Coast is that Ken Stabler's knee injury is not serious. They are now at the half, and the Oakland Raiders lead the San Diego Chargers 7-6. Phyllis, you've got a reminder about a special program tonight.
I certainly do. You were there, I was there, and it all happens tonight right here on CBS. Farrah Fawcett Majors against Dick Van Patten in tennis. Olympic decathlon champ Bruce Jenner against little Christy McNichol in skateboarding. And I understand that's really a highlight in the show. They're both terrific athletes. You'll see those and many other top stars tonight at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time when CBS Sports presents Celebrity Challenge of the Sexes. That's tonight, right here at 8 o'clock on CBS.
And Phyllis, the men's team's heavily favored.
Oh, no, they're
The NFL Today will continue on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
Join top Hollywood stars for the AFI salute to the greatest movies of all time tomorrow night on CBS.
In a moment, we're going to see some youngsters who might be the pro players of tomorrow. But first, let's see how some of today's pro players got their start.
Hi, I'm Mike Kirkland. I'm a quarterback with the Baltimore Colts. That's Randy Burke. He's with the Colts, too. Football is our business, a business of punting, passing, and kicking. But it was a game with us first. It was a game when I was National Punt, Pass, and Kick Champion from Texas. That's me. We got our names in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, too. The Ford Dealers of America have... Watch it! The Ford Dealers of America have made punt, pass, and kick a football skills game for over 1 million boys and girls every year for the past 16 years. That's over 16 million young men and women between the ages of 8 and 13 who entered the competition through their local dealer. These kids compete for trophies, travel, and I guess, like me, just for fun. They participate because PP&K is fun, exciting, and some kids win it all.
Ladies and gentlemen, these youngsters have already competed in the kicking and punting events. Now they'll compete to see who can pass the farthest and most accurately. Their scores will be totaled. We'll see the winners later on. And now, if the officials on the field are ready, let's go to the action. Our first 8-year-old passer is from Freeport, Pennsylvania. He is Jeff Christie. Go, Jeff. The next 8-year-old passer from Blairsville, Pennsylvania is Mark Franklin. Good luck. And now we move to the 9-year-olds. From Julian, Pennsylvania, Greg Snowberger. The other 9-year-old contestant from Pittsburgh, George Cupitz. Good throw. And now we move to the 10-year-old contestants. From Toronto, Ohio, Donald Raymer, Jr., number 53. Fine throw. And from State College, Pennsylvania, Philip Willenbrock, number 48. And now we move to the 11-year-olds. From Salzburg, Pennsylvania, Harry Buell III, number 78. And from Bedford, Pennsylvania, Robert Doman. And now to the 12-year-olds. From Washington, Pennsylvania, Randy Arons, number 82. Good arm. And from Elkins, West Virginia, Scott Hopwood. Wow. And finally, our 13-year-olds from Fairmont, West Virginia, Michael Beafor. And finally, from Pittsburgh, number 72, Patrick Reed. And there you are, ladies and gentlemen. Now the officials will add up the points, double-check measurements, and determine the 6 Pittsburgh area competition winners. We'll announce their names at the end of the third quarter. So right now, give these youngsters an encouraging round of applause, and thank you. We're at the half of the contest between the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and right now Pittsburgh is on top, 14-13.
Leslie Caron for Color Track by RCA.
In Gigi, my brooch was blue, the leaves were green, and my gown was lavender lace. If these colors don't look right to you, you should know about Color Track from RCA. Getting the color right is what Color Track is all about. It actually adjusts the colors and locks them on track.
Before you see the Color Track system grabs it, aligns it, defines it, sharpens it, tones it, and locks the color on track.
RCA is making television better and better.